Again, welcome to a new episode of the AfriTech Connect, our sanctuary, really, for exploring the different aspect of our fellowship, but also at the intersection of technology, leadership, and the profound journey of wellness within our community and beyond. So I want to remind all of you that the AfriTech Connect space is a space for us all, and it is a place where we want you to take the space that you need. So this is yours as well. And we are continuing with our Women History Month special series where we've made a conscious choice to celebrate women in their fullness, not just for the trophies on the shelf or the titles and on their business cards, but for the quiet courage and the late night doubts and the passion that keep our souls alive. So tonight's episode is titled Women Beyond Titles, and we are joined by a woman who wears many hats: an HR professional, a multi-award winning chef, a community leader, and a mother. But tonight we are peeling back those layers. Please help me in welcoming Kobashni Pillay.
Hi. Hi, Yanga.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. So thank you for having me.
But yeah, thank you for being here. And I do see some reaction already as we go through it. And I do want to remind you all, as I was saying, that this is a space for us all. So feel free to put in the chat if you have thoughts and comments about what we are discussing, and also questions that we might answer at the end, but also reaction as we go through the conversation, because we do want to make it a community space. So when you react, it makes us feel like you're with us in that discussion. So even though we said that we are striving away from all the titles, I do want to take some time to say who Kobashni actually is. So she is a human resource professional and a passionate self-taught chef known for winning national cooking competition like Super Chef and Le Chef. She has also done several cooking videos and is always sharing recipes to help working moms try simple and quick dishes. She received in 2020 the Africa's Women Leaders Award, recognizing women in leadership roles. She is a blessed wife and mother of three children. She is actively involved in her family life and community activities, including serving as president of the Parents Association of her kids' school, and she strongly believes that passion and humility drive success in life. Wow. What an amazing human being and what an amazing women. But yeah, again, as we were talking, we were saying that these are all the titles, right? And that those are the ones that we hear most often. But what is behind all of this? What is beyond all of this? So we won't wait. We are going to dive right into the conversation. And the very first thing that I want to know is, if we do remove all those titles to you, Kobashni, those HR professional, award-winning chef, mother, president, how would you personally introduce yourself?
That is actually a tough one because indeed this is normally, when you introduce yourself, you're always like, I'm this, I'm that. But I think it's going to be as simple as Kobashni, a human being. And if I needed to go beyond titles, I would say that I'm a caring, genuine, and full of life person. I can't find anything else, because this is who I am beyond the titles. This is the person I am.
I like how you use the word human being, a person, which is something that we often, forget
Yeah.
when we are having conversation or introducing ourselves. But I do want to know, growing up, what shaped your sense of identity before achievements entered the picture?
Um, I would say that probably like many of us, because we're very similar in lots of ways. I would say that it's my environment, the way that I was brought up, by my parents, the not understand what was happening, but as you grow, then it hits you what they were doing. And I think um I always remember, when I was younger and I would go and visit my dad in his office. And I would be amazed, how people would treat him with respect and he would treat them back with respect. And if, somebody kind of spoke to you, they would talk so highly of him. And I always remember that this is what I would also want, like people to kind of feel that they are happy when they're talking about you. They feel like, oh, wow, okay, that's she helped me, and beyond just faking it, being really genuine about it. And I think it's all this that made me who I am, and really gave me that, like you were saying, that sense of identity to move on in life and use those to achieve whatever I have been able to achieve.
I like this aspect of how you give respect, and that's when you also receive respect. And I will say that every time I talk about you with people around me, I always have a smile on my face because you do give back that same sense of belonging and being happy to be around you. So I can tell you, you've been able to achieve that. And I think you've been talking about this aspect of human, this human side of being a person. And it's interesting to see that you then went ahead and built a career in HR, right? But yet you also pursued this other side with cooking, but with equal seriousness, which is not something that we often see. When did you realize that your passion deserved space alongside your profession?
I think when I think when when you realize, normally you have hobbies, right? And you're very passionate about certain hobbies. But I realized that, it was no more a hobby. It was part of my life. It became part of me. You don't do it as a hobby. You do it, because it's you. You just feel it. You are happy doing it, and you're not forced to do it. Sometimes when you do have hobbies, you're tired, like, "Ah, I don't want to go to for my, I don't know, my tennis lessons today, or I'm not going to run today," although it's a hobby. But for me, when I realized that it was part of me, it's part of my life, I you would see me on my phone. I am always looking at videos on YouTube of, my chefs, preferred chefs, and the different culinary shows. I'm always into that, and it feels like, you're not separating yourself anymore. And this is when, you take it, like you mentioned, it's as serious as your job. Because yes, your job is your job, but I think that most of us, we spend a lot of time in our jobs, but we come back, and it, for me, coming back and then now shifting to this, other side of me, made a lot of sense. Like, I cannot separate myself from it. So I think this is when, you realize that it's more than that.
Okay. And you told us that it was self-taught, right? It was self-taught
Yes.
that you decided to go with your passion because you loved it so much and you loved the way it made you feel. So when did you realize that um, beyond actually being a passion and you actually learning about it, when did you realize that that path was enough and that what did maybe humility look like in that season in your life?
It's funny because I was always, in the kitchen, cooking, trying things. And I think I kind of got more into it when I had my kids, because then, you're now starting to do things for them, and you're happy to do things for them. But When I first did the first competition back in 2014, I was just, cooking because I liked it. But when I went on and I won the competition, I still remember that one of the things that the judge, the chef who was the judge at that time, he said something, and that's what he said. He said that all throughout the competition, like I was really the quiet, candidate, not talking a lot and not saying much, but doing her things, very organized, very structured, and very humble. And I appreciated that. And it actually made me really, see what he was saying, because sometimes you don't realize, and you don't need to go, and shout to the world that you're good at this. And, you just quietly doing your things, and you're doing it for your family. And I mean, what's there, to boast about, So this and it's really humility that for me brought me along this journey, because I have never, you mentioned the word self-taught. I have never gone and said, that I went for, cooking classes, and I know this, I know exactly how to do this. This is perfect, I do it perfectly. I've never been like this. I will tell people, try. If you miss it, it's okay, you try again. And very often, I do something and the kids are like, this was good today. And next time I do it, Mama, it wasn't as good as it was the first time. It's because, I maybe I added an ingredient at that time, and the next time I do it, I forgot to do it. But it's not important. It's, the joy that you create, while doing it, the happiness that you feel doing it. And this is humility for me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kobashni. And you've given such a beautiful aspect of, what it looks like when the titles or the achievements are not put forward, because like that chef told you, you were quietly doing your thing, just minding your own business and doing what you loved, and it's beautiful to see it. But I know that sometimes staying true to that inner self isn't always easy, and especially when the world is watching, right? The world is watching
Mhm.
around you. And I do want to shift gear a little bit and talk about maybe the unseen parts of that journey, or the moments that you felt the pressure and the values that keep you anchored when those expectations maybe were too high or felt a bit heavy. So I do want to
Mhm.
ask you, what are the parts, even though there's all these wins, achievements, what are the parts of your journey where you felt like were unseen and difficult, but like nobody saw it, so it was an unseen and difficult aspect of your life?
Mm, to be very honest, I think that whenever you grow, in life, in I mean, through different situations, through different phases, I think the question maybe asked maybe 2 years back would I would have answered it differently than answering it today. Um, I think that for me, it's more about how, when you're actually doing something, you're asking yourself the question like, am I doing it for myself, or am I doing it for others to see? And it's a very thin line, because, sometimes this is what happens. You actually then start thinking more about the other side, what they are thinking. Am I good enough? And what if they are seeing something that is not visible, but the most important, I feel, today, because I think I've grown during this journey, is probably not focusing so much on what you said, but focusing more on knowing what I am capable of doing, what I am able to do, and not focusing so much on, the unseen parts. Because we all go through certain things, struggles. Like I just took a very simple example of missing out completely on something you were baking or doing, like it's like totally a total disaster. But it's more about, you, like how you went about doing it and how much you put out there. But sometimes there are things that are just out of control, and it just happened, and it's okay. I This is what I feel. It's okay. The struggles will be there, but today I'm more in a position of saying that not putting so much weight on the struggles, and keeping your path, trying to do the best that you can, doing with as much as passion as you can, as much dedication as you can, and that's it. Because at the end of the day, um what people see, what people want to see, you're not, it's not in your control. So why, put so much emphasis on this? So for me, it's basically more, it comes back to me, and to how I can, improve myself, how, I can be better on what I'm doing. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think it's very refreshing to hear that because it's not the type of thing that we grow up hearing, and especially as women, because there's a lot of pressure that is placed on us as we start growing. And I think it's important for people to hear this. It's important for the youth to hear it, and everyone around us. And from what you're saying, I can hear the humility aspect and the passion resonate even more, even though you've been talking about this since the beginning. I can now see it in what you're saying because you seem very passionate about that aspect, about being okay with not being able to achieve that right now, and there's another time for it. And I really do want to know, where does those values of humility and passion actually come from?
um I think I would say that again, it comes. I think it comes from how you grew up. I would say it again. It's. I thank my parents because they have taught us, me and my brother, like to live in this, humble way. Not to take things for granted, to work for what you want, that life is not going to be easy, and that this is how we were brought up. And I think that's where the humility aspect comes from. I think it would be more, I think, to be honest, from my dad. um Passion, it's different, Anga. Like, it's very personal. It's personal. It's something that, I don't know, it comes naturally to you. And I guess, when you're doing it more and more, because you feel happiness in doing it, you feel joy in doing it. It's not a different person. And it's hard to explain, because I think it really comes from within. Like, it can't be, you can't teach someone, to be passionate about something. You have to find your way. And but then, obviously, I guess that the external factors that make it more exciting is your surrounding. So your family, your friends, people who will be like, oh, last time I tasted this and it was really good. Or, again, the kids will like, Mama, do this again. And, it keeps you going. And, it's like the fire, and, they don't allow it, to just become lighter. On the contrary, I think that, your surrounding actually, make it become more and more interesting. And yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, if you look at it, Anga, even humility, it's not something that you can actually instill in someone, right? It's there. It's a value. It's, for you as a human being to decide whether, you want to be humble in life, or you want to be arrogant in life. I think it comes down to you. So yeah, it's a choice that you make in life. And yeah, for me, it's passion and humility. That's the two values that I live by.
Thank you. And I love the aspect of actually having the passion as the fire and having many kind of ways to still recharge it from time to time. And I think for
Exactly.
you, one big aspect of it is your family. You've talked about your boss family, so your parents and your surroundings and your kids and your husband. And I think this is a big drive for you to keep your passion alive. And I know that in some way, even though it does give you the passion, it also takes a lot of responsibility, right? To be a mother, manager, like everything we've talked about, the work, the family, the community, it does take a lot. And I do want to know what practice or maybe habits help you return to yourself and try to not be overwhelmed. You know, what is the practice that makes you go back to just you?
This has been a tough. This is still tough. I wouldn't lie. It's true that all the different titles that you mentioned, it takes up a lot of my time during a day. If you remove, you 7 hours or something that you sleep, you spend most of your time at work, and then you come back home, and yeah, you now put on the hat of a mother, and you're there, cooking and doing the stuff that we all do, and sitting with them with the homework. And by the time, like, they've gone to bed, it's the only time that you have. And very often, you're tired, and you're just like, I want to watch something very quickly or something, and then go to sleep. So it's true that when I joined AfriTech, this is one of the things that that was I spoke about with my mentor. And this is one of the things that I said that I need to work on, because I find it hard to find time to, like you say, get back to myself. But I've
Mhm.
been able to, not very often, but I am able to now have this time, for me. So it's basically like doing something else, obviously, other than cooking. Although, if for me, cooking or doing something really relaxes me, but I've tried to say that, let me try to do something else. And one of the things that I've learned last year and that I've really now started to put in practice is like to, even if it takes you a few minutes, just, close your eyes and breathe and learn to pause, and
Mm.
it can be 5, 7 minutes. It's not long, but it just kind of sets you, back to, where you needed to be, because there's so much rush, and, you yourself, you're not just understanding, what's happening around you. So it's more on, how to breathe. And the last thing I would say is prayers. I strongly believe in my faith. I believe in a higher power, and I go back to this. So yeah, these are the ways.
I think it's very powerful, and thank you for sharing it. I know it can be an aspect of which is very difficult, as you mentioned. And I remember, for those of you who don't know, as she said, she was an AfriTech fellow once. She's now a proud alum. I'm very happy to have her here. And I think it is one of the first things that you did tell us is that you do not necessarily find time, to actually put into yourself. And that was a space where you could finally do that, which we are very happy that you felt that in those moments when you were coming for the fellowship. And
Yeah.
I think, and that's one thing that was not necessarily in your bio, but when we were looking at your bio, there is so many aspects that we were covering, right? We were talking about, and I'm very happy that you actually mentioned your family and your children in your bio, which is something that is not often done. And you've mentioned also your achievements. But what part of your personality or maybe of your story do you feel is most misunderstood or unseen when someone is just looking at your bio?
Um, I think probably the assumptions that they make, based on what they see, they probably, would think that it was, very easy for me to get wherever I've been able, to be today, to find myself today. And this is again, Anga, I today I feel, I'm being very honest. I feel very uncomfortable, um, not answering it, but I like now to see and I think AfriTech and all this actually got me to this, thinking more of the positive aspect and not trying so much to dig about this aspect you're mentioning. If Because I feel like today, whether, and probably a lot of you listening will relate, whether you do something good or you do something bad, people will still talk about it. So
Yeah.
so really, finally, what's the point in digging so much? Because people do not know, for example, that it was, you had struggles, that it was not as easy, that you've had certain phases in your life that were really difficult, but you never show it, right? Because you're always
Mhm.
cheerful and you never show it. So behind that person, there may be struggles, but people assume, and people make up things, make up stories, and it's not fair, and it's just not worth it. So unless until somebody really gets to know you, and you are genuine and the person is also genuine, then they will know. But I really feel today like, you know however much a woman has achieved, she should be proud of what she has achieved, because she only knows how, she did to reach, to that point in her life, with the struggles, with the pains, with the difficulties along the side. She will know. But is it necessary for other people to know? Today, I think I would say no. It's my problem. I reached there and I'm happy. I think at the end of the day, some we say it very often. We learn from our mistakes, but we learn from challenges that we have faced in life, and we move on. And that's how we grow. So just be happy and content about this.
I feel like this you're saying right now is so liberating that I'm feeling freed from what you're saying. I don't know how the others are
It's
feeling,
okay.
but
You can say it
I
as well now.
but I feel like you like just by saying that I will say that just by saying those words, you are allowing somebody else who might be on this call right now or who will be listening afterwards the permission to actually say that I'm allowed to also be like that. Because no matter what I'm going to do, no matter what I'm going to say, people are going to talk about it because that's all they see, right? That's the bio they see and that's what they think. And I will say, I think it's even more powerful to know that all these awards, all those titles that you've built has been built on that humility that you were talking about and that passion that you were talking about. And I do want to go towards a core discussion aspect next, which is going to be another shift from what we were talking, is how do we take those lessons, right? How do we take those lessons that you've been through and actually change how we measure our lives? Because you said that we have those guidelines that are placed there, and it kind of shape how we are supposed to go in the society and how we're supposed to live our life. And there's this part where we need to, as I was saying, feel free and try to detach our worth from that productivity, right? Because I think many women tie their worth to productivity and in how much do they achieve, how much they manage, how much they did. And I think this is something that a lot of us might have been through. I want to know if this is something that you might have struggled with and what was like maybe the switch.
I think the first thing is to actually maybe define as a woman, as a person, what success is. First of all, how do you define what success is? And for me, success is not a trophy, it's not a title. You mentioned, when I won the awards, yes, you actually get something, physical. You get an award and you get whatever comes with it, prizes and all. But that's just the part of it, and then it ends and you continue your journey, right? So but the part for me that is really important is, I think, as a human being, is we all, I said it in the beginning, we all have values that we have, that we embed, that we live our lives with, our principles that we live our lives with. And this is very important because for me, this is where you use the word detached, Anga, but I don't know. I'm this kind of person that feels like I am one person. And if I'm like this at home, you know, I should be able to be the same at work. Of course, I totally agree that at work there are boundaries. There, you're not going to laugh the whole day. There's a decorum, there are rules, there are, all this. Sure. But as a person, as a person, who am I, as a person? And I do also realize that sometimes it's not easy because you find yourself in certain situations where, it's like you might want to, shift a little bit from who you are, or maybe just like, I think we spoke about this last time with the mask, like really,
Yes.
sometimes you don't want, so you're kind of hiding. This is not you, but you actually just don't want to show your feelings. And this is what I would say for me is the part that you're saying, detaching. But it's very hard for me if I'm like a caring person, and I watch out for you, and I see, you're going in the wrong direction. I will tell you that it is wrong. It's very difficult for me to detach myself from, these values. It's very hard for me because I would not be true to myself. So it
Mm.
boils down, I think, at the end of the day, it boils down to who you are. And we always say that you come back home and you look at yourself in the mirror. You need to be happy at what you see in the mirror, because when you do things that are not good, you don't see that unless you really, you've zoned out, like you no more know who you are, or you don't want to see that. But otherwise, we always say it like we say in French, c'est ta conscience, right? Because you're not
Mm-hmm.
like that. And when you do something which is not like you, it actually, you feel like, it's haunting you, that it's not good. So it's
Mm-hmm.
the courage. I think it's the courage to actually stand up for yourself and stay true to your values and principles. It's hard, I know, but sometimes, it's important to, I think, to realize that you would have changed just for one situation. But unfortunately, that situation, particular situation, can change a lot of things. And would you
Mm-hmm.
want this? So this is the part where, for me, detachment is very, I would say, um, dangerous, if I can use the word. Um, y- but we're talking about me. I know that,
Yeah.
others are listening, and it might not be easy. There are some choices that you make that you need to live with those choices your whole life. So you have to be careful, about how you do
Mm-hmm.
these choices. Yeah.
And I like the aspect when you were talking about success and how after those trophies, you were able to redefine what success meant to you. If you had to say one sentence into what success actually is to you, what would you actually say then?
Um. Success for me, I would say, was like doing it, having the courage to do it, doing it and having the courage to do it for me, because it took a lot of courage to do it. It's not like you were saying about what people see. It's not like seeing the shows on the TV. It's not as simple as this. There are failures behind those. There are, like the shootings are happening. It's not as people see it, because you see the
Yeah.
good side of it. So yeah, it's having the courage to do it. And yeah.
Okay. And if you could encourage women in this room to maybe let go of one external measure of worth, what would it be?
Mm, I think I would say probably, I would say to let go of ego. Um, this is something that unfortunately today, it's become very unfortunately something that we let ourselves, get, let's say, drowned by this. Sometimes I don't think it's not that we don't want to see it, but we actually prefer, let it be, just being silent about it. But ego is something that, can actually destroy you. It actually can destroy you. So why do you need to have ego when you know that you're doing good for yourself, you know that you're happy, you know that you're you're getting through life, you've got your support system, you've got your family. So why does ego needs to come into it? It's very simple scenario, Anga. I think I work, we are all women, and I mean, I'm doing well, I am, working well, and so why should this ego come in when I see somebody else, another woman who's also doing well? Why should it come?
Mm.
So why do I allow myself to, I don't want her to do well. I don't want her to perform, tomorrow she can have the promotion, before me, or, yeah, you see what I mean. So again, there's a very thin line, and we have to be very careful, because I'm sure it happened to all of us. I am not perfect. It happened to all of us, or it comes in your mind, but it's important then to be able to have control. So learn to let go of ego. It's not going to lead you to anywhere good.
Learn to let go of ego, guys. And I think it's really true. I think we've all witnessed that aspect of how somebody will go ahead and just because of their ego penalize somebody else when it's not advancing them in any way. And it's something that I'm still questioning as to why they're doing this. But yeah, I think the answer is always ego in that sense, because it's pushing us to do things that doesn't even make
I'm
sense
not
to
going.
begin with.
Exactly.
So, so I think it's definitely something we should let go and actually in this part detach from because it's something that is actually bothering a lot of us in some ways. And I do want to end on a note of mostly hopefulness. And what kind of future do you hope we create for the next generation in terms of how they define themselves? I know this is a topic that is very dear to you, so I do want to hear from you on that.
Yeah, having kids myself. Yeah, true. And different generations. So yeah, I think well, it's a hope, like you say, and we can only hope. And this is something that each of us having kids, it's now part of our responsibility. We have to do our part, because it's our kids. We just can't, allow, the external factors come and, dictate what's going to happen. So basically for me, I think it's really showing them who who they are, not just what they do, not just what they show to others, because today it's all, the technology, the extremes of it, the being fake about it, hiding, behind screens, not having the an identity, because it's just in this tech world, and really the most important values that we want our kids. I'm talking about my kids, but probably some would relate. I think today, I'm trying to ensure, that they know what empathy is. It's really important that they know what resilience is. And most important for me is also like, show them that it's important to be authentic, because it's very easy, you're with your you get the peer pressure, but as parents, you tell them, my son is at university, and this is one of the things that me and my husband have been telling him, and we keep on telling him, um, you know if this is how we brought you, keep your principles going, just don't allow somebody else because you're in another country to come and take, let's do it. It can be anything, Anga. It's like, that, for example, smoking is not good. This is not how you grew
Mhm.
up. So this is one of the things that
Products, yeah.
and we want you to abide by it. Not now you're there and we are no more with you, that you feel like, let me do it and let me not, stick to how I've been brought up. So these values, I'm just giving an example, but I think these values, so we always told him, like, help others. Even if you don't get the help back, but this is how we brought you up. You see, somebody who
Mhm.
really needs help him. Even if tomorrow that person doesn't help you, it's fine. It's what you did,
Yeah.
and this is something that today it's unfortunate, but kids, I mean, we see what we're seeing. We all see the
Mhm.
videos on Facebook, and everything, and this is not what the future generation needs to be. I think it's important to let them know to be good human beings, and not only like, run after being successful, because what's the point? So yeah, this is my hope.
We do not want them to be more values people, right? Just a bunch of titles, and inside they, like you were saying at the beginning, they go back home and they can't even look at themselves in the mirror. I think that's a pity, and I do love that you want this for the next generation, for your own children, and it is a hope for the next generation. And at our level, when we are having conversation like this, when we are spreading the word about our different values that we were inculcated in or instilled in us from our parents, I think this is what we can do. Like, we can share what we think and how we can pass on. And there's something very important that you said: help this person, even though tomorrow that person might not help you. But again, you know that you were giving just because you wanted to give, not giving to get something in return, right?
Yeah,
And
and this
I
is what I was mentioning, Anga, at the empathy. Today, you hear a
Mhm.
lot of this. People, where's this value? It's gone. You
Mhm.
don't see it. I mean, is it normal that you're seeing, like, you're seeing a scene, where somebody is, I don't know, bashing another person, and they're all standing there, nobody's doing
Yeah.
something about it, and or like you said, the helping part. There's something wrong. We are all human beings. We're
Yeah.
supposed to be empathetic, but this is something which is now gone, and it's important for these kids who are growing in a world which is going to be even more challenging. It already is, and it's very important for them to stand by certain values that, for me, the word is like, create an identity for themselves, and be happy about who they are.
Yeah. Thank you, Kawashni. And I have one last question, and after I will open the floor to anyone who might have comments or question. If you want to start putting it in the chat, you can do that as from now. My last question is: we've heard about what you want for your kids, but I do want to know, when your children describe you one day in the future, what do you hope they say about who you were?
Um, I I would hope that they say that I was present for them, and I was brave enough to take certain decisions. Because they were part of my journey, and they saw my struggles as well. But that I was brave enough, to decide to take a call on certain things, but also about like that I showed them, the different values that I was talking about, to be kind, to be empathetic, and to be genuine, to be authentic. I hope that they remember me as this full of life person, and very positive. I'm a very positive person. So and I always tell them to stay positive, even if sometimes you are in situations that are not easy, that are tough. It's hard, but that to believe in that. I always told them to believe in themselves. That's what I hope they will remember.
Thank you so much, Kobashni. And I'm sure they will remember that.
Thank
At
you.
least that's how I will remember you because you are very much a positive person. Takes one to know one. I'm always of a positive, of a negative, and I do give it from you as well. So now, if you have any comments or questions that you want to ask Kobashni, please unmute yourself or feel free to put it in the chat. But you can also unmute yourself and just let us know what you have to share. We do have
I've spoken
comments
too
in
much.
no, and we do have nice comments in the chat. Some people say she is a role model indeed. Really, she is. And there is someone who said, loving this exchange, it feels so genuine. Thank you so much, Deepshika and Nikita.
Thank you. I just hope that, I've been able to really share, whatever. I mean, this is like real life experience. There's nothing, that, I imagine or, created. It's happened. And I think I kind of think that, we are very similar in a lot of ways, but different paths, different situations. But at the end of the day, it's I think your first questions, Anga, really resonates. It's who you are. And that's what we were here to, like, beyond titles. And this is because if tomorrow you don't have a job, and whatever happens,
Mm,
what is left? It's really you. And if you
yeah,
you know you have what it takes, and you will be able to do whatever you want, whatever you wish to do. You only have to believe in yourself. Yeah.
that's true. I think I definitely want to say that too. We do have a comment in the chat from Veronique who says, love this conversation. And she has a question that is, how do you recenter on being positive during stressful times?
That's a hard one, Vero. uh I think I don't know. I think I refuse to be negative. And Vero, it takes at least one of us to be positive. You are also in the same situation now. So sometimes, you want to be the person who's uplifting the other person. But it's basically refusing and sometimes it's really being stubborn, but it's refusing to be negative. It's probably I would say probably because of the kids. I want to always show them that it is important to be positive, that there's always a solution, that there's always something about it. So I kind of refuse to be negative about something. And unless I'm really being stubborn about it, and then yeah, they will be like, ouais, on t'avait dit mais tu voulais pas écouter. But otherwise, I think I really put that pressure on myself to want to see positivity in all aspects as much as possible. Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh,
And I think there's a distinction to make between being positive and being happy. Because there's this aspect of people thinking that when we are saying we are positive people, is that we are happy all the time. But that's not it. It's like we can be sad, but still be positive. So we're just choosing to see
Sure.
the good out of of a situation. But
Totally
the
agree.
feeling
Yeah.
is not that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Sometimes it's also like you're saying, I and I think we come back to our Women's Day, talk about the mosque. It's like sometimes you like you said you're sad, but you just don't want to show it, and you want to be positive about it. So you just put up a smile, although you are not so happy, but at that point in time it was important to be positive about it. Yeah, I totally agree.
Thank you. I think somebody was talking. I'm not sure who it was.
yes,
Okay,
it was.
Mohini.
I don't know if the question is the same as the one you just replied, but as we women, we experience a lot of hormonal thing, etc., and sometimes even trying to keep that. Yeah, we are a good person, but sometimes there are lots of expectation even at work, in our at our home, and that hormonal thing, and sometimes we just burst like an explosion. There's so much around going with expectation and with our body, and you have something, tips or anything to share that you know just to keep that yeah, to keep us
So
going
yeah,
strong,
yeah,
because there's so much that
sure.
expectation, and even our body is not on the same rhythm, and we burst emotionally, etc.
Yeah, yeah. I totally yeah, I totally understand, and I totally agree. It does happen. It can happen, especially with the hormones, bursting here and there. But I think it if I can give a tip, and this is something that I learned recently, it was just last year, that sometimes, well, when you're not being able to control what you just mentioned, and you just burst out. I mean, the action sometimes can be really bad, and you have regrets after that. So I think because we are human beings and we know what is happening. Let's say, I'm moody today. I'm not in a good mood. I'm at work, and I'm frustrated, and I feel like, if the next thing that happens, I'm going to burst out. It's controlling yourself not to allow it to happen. It's as simple as really doing the posing and really taking deep breath and really taking like few minutes, and I think it really helps. I did not believe so much into it until I started doing it, and I really feel that it has helped. It's just a few minutes, but you will be surprised at how it can calm you down. Because imagine if it was happening with somebody else, and that you were the one telling that other person, okay, breathe, breathe, stay calm, in, out. You were coaching the other person. So why can't you do it for yourself? And then, if you really need to, I think we all do that. It's like, if we can just go for, take some, deep breath of fresh air, outside. This is, I think, for work. You obviously you can't do so much at work unless you really feel frustrated and you just want to, take half day out or something. But sometimes when you're at home and that you really feel in that same situation, is just do something where, I don't know, just get your mixer on and just take your whisk and just do something just to get this frustration out, and probably you'll feel better afterwards. Yeah, but that's what I would do, and I don't know, just try it.
Yes,
To add
thank you.
to this, I think I would like to add to this, Mohini. I would say that, there's this aspect, again, going back to the positivity that we were talking about, that when we're positive, it's that like we're not acknowledging the other feelings, but that's not the case. When we are trying to be positive, you should always take time to still acknowledge every feeling that is going on inside you. And just like Kobashni is saying, her way of dealing with those feelings is taking a whisk, trying a new recipe, whisking it, and making this great dessert or like a great dish. But it's different for everybody. For me, for example, I would just go on, watch something that is really, really sad, or read something really sad and just cry and let it all go out. So I think you just need to find your
Yeah,
way of dealing with it.
Sure.
yeah, it's true, exactly.
Yeah.
Go for some karate courses or something, have a punching bag at home,
Yeah,
anything that would actually make
like,
you feel better. I think Aga is right. We all have our ways to, deal about it. But it's true that, again, I'm saying, Mohini, at work, unfortunately, you don't have so much room to do all this.
yeah, I would
So
journal.
at work, just stick to the breathing and posing and, or, going out for lunch and just having some fresh air, cool down, and then get an ice cream and come back to work. But yeah.
And a really last question, and it's about when sometimes we seem a bit like, we are women, girls, and we like to dress up, and some are like very girly, etc. And shifting that not girly, but that naive personality into someone who can lead, who can
Mm.
take responsibility. Sometimes it clashes with that image because people already see you like very, you can't take big lead role, while seeing you, with that naive young face, and already have a prejudice towards you. And uh, and some how normally just to deal with that and continue to keep that aside and continue to lead a
Um,
bit. I don't know if it's, the question is a bit
um,
messy.
yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to start, but Anga, just joining when you want. But
Yes.
yeah, I can understand. But it's true. It's true. But I think at the end of the day, it's really sometimes you might be a very small person, like you're saying, but that's what people see, the physical aspect. But you might have a confidence that really is wow. When you start talking itself, you are so confident that the physical aspect just disappears. For me, that's what I would tell you. But and one other thing, I think maybe Anga, you would agree with me, is um, not also convincing or believing that it's actually true because of what
Mm-mm.
people are saying. So stop. Actually, don't create, for yourself that aspect that, oh, this is what people see. I'm this girly thing. I'm still like this babyish thing. You're already, enhancing it. So actually, just don't put all this, in front of you, and just show confidence, in the way you talk, in your gestures, in the way, you're posing, you're standing, the expressions, and I think the physical aspect will just disappear. I don't know, Anga, if you want to add on.
No, I agree. I agree. It's true. I can feel that. Yes, the confidence a bit like you're ready for that, and it just show with every gesture you will do and everything. Yeah, it's true. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot. Thank you so much.
No, pleasure. Yeah, pleasure.
I think I would agree. I would agree with that. And to add to this, I would say just be unapologetically yourself. There's so many people out there. Being you is the only unique thing that you can do at this point. So just be yourself. And no matter what they're going to say, just be you. They, no matter what you're going to do, they are going to talk. So I think just as earlier Kobashni was saying, just be yourself and be proud of being who you are, because there is this big aspect of female leader not having to be too feminine, for example. And I think this is so wrong because I am allowed to be feminine and being a leader. There's nothing that it's not mutually
Sure.
exclusive, and I think that's completely all right. Because I remember once I went to this conference where a woman was saying that to be able to achieve all your dreams, you need to stop watching TV and watching your series and stop going to do your nails. And I was so mad at what she was saying because I was like, why am I not allowed to be myself and be feminine just to be able to be a leader? Because if that's what it means, if I need to abandon my femininity to be a leader, I don't think that's worth it because I'd rather be myself
I,
and be happy with it.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's Anga, finally it's your identity, right? Because otherwise you'll be losing your identity if it's to do
Yeah.
things that others are doing just for the sake of doing it.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mohini, for your amazing questions. I think it really helped to close this conversation. So I know we are already past time. So thank you so much to all of you. Thank you to Kobashni for being this amazing
Thank
guest
you.
tonight. And I do want really to thank all of you who are listening in right now during the call, but also who will be listening after when it's on YouTube, because it will be on YouTube on our AfriTech Fellowship channel. And also, we have more sessions coming up for our special Women History Month. We have two more sessions happening, so one on Thursday and one next week. So make sure to follow us on our social media to be able to have all of these information. A massive heartfelt thank you again to Kobashni for just simply your
Thank you.
radical honesty and for showing us that passion and humility truly are the ultimate drivers of success. And thank you to everyone who showed up. Thank you. And until next time, keep being yourself, keep
Thank
embracing the spirit of
you.
exploration and
Yeah.
being you. And yes, bye for now. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.